All right, guys, welcome to another episode of the Limitless Mindset Podcast. I am freaking stoked today. I got a really, really good buddy of mine, mentor of mine over the years. He's helped me. Honestly, dude, I'm going to give you credit for me being where I'm at because he's given me advice like through the friggin' roof. So today I'm excited for you guys because obviously we're going to take a break from just traditional real estate side of things because this guy is all about life, which is awesome too because I learned a ton about that from him too. Just super, I don't know, man, robust. That's the best word I could explain to you.
Thank you.
Man, just very all over the place, and it just works. It's like messy execution. It just comes together perfectly.
Full weirdo.
Yeah. So I got my buddy Temp Walker. You guys know him. He's the jack of all trades when it comes to real estate wholesaling. He was a traditional agent, fix, flip. Like I don't know, you own like 9 businesses or something now. You're involved in something crazy. So. Just an all-around, well-rounded, amazing human being, guys. And so I'm stoked to have him on today, man. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you.
Thanks for having me, man.
I'm going to share the story of how I met you, by the way, like how I first met him, just to kick this thing off. So I think it was at the, it's like a real producer. No, Sever, our 40 under 40
Were we
award.
peeing together?
I think. No, that was after.
Okay.
That was after. But this was.
In separate
that
urinals,
sounded weird.
by the way.
That sounded weird. But this was, no, the first time I saw you or heard of you was at the, it's like a Sever, our 40 under 40 award. It was at that Chandler Airport hangar. Do you remember that?
Oh, was I the keynote speaker?
Yes.
And it was like Latin night, and I wore like
yeah, like these short. He had these like shoes on, no socks, and like rolled up pants. I'm like, who the hell is this guy who dresses like this instead? So I was like, who the hell is this guy? He runs a team and is a T group. He had that, and so I was like, oh, this guy's a little kind of odd, but he does good volume, so that's cool. Works. And so, and then we met again. I think it was at the. What was that? The Real Producers, one of the Real Producers event. That was the second time.
That's when we were in the restroom.
Yes.
And we were peeing in separate urinals.
Yeah.
And then we started chatting.
So yeah, I was like, hey man, I've heard you a few times. You're in some deals. Like, yeah, I've heard of you. And then dude, ever since then, we've just been friends. And I reached out to Temp because you had ran at that time. You were running a team. I don't think you had gotten into wholesaling or anything yet. You're just doing traditional real estate.
I was wholesaling just on the side, but it was just me and my assistant.
Yeah.
But my main thing was still like a traditional real estate team.
Yep. And so that's right when I had started. And you guys have heard me give credit to him many times. When I talked about starting my team, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. Then I was like, I don't know. Can you help me out? And remember, I came to your office, and you're like, yeah, here's my TC, and you need to go hire one. And why don't you have one? I was like, I don't know. He's like, go hire one. I went and hired one. I brought her back, and you helped train her up, and boom, my team was born, and we blew up. So it's all credit to him. And then same thing, getting into off-market wholesale. You told me like 2 years ago, get in it. And I said no, and then I finally am doing it.
Yeah, no, but you're crushing. Well, but to your credit, I mean, I kind of was able to expose you to a couple ideas, but I mean, dude, do you know how many people I've shown and like you and like maybe 2 others have like actually done what, they've gone and ran with it?
Yeah.
But that's a testament to you because you're like the craziest work ethic.
Yeah.
Like
I struggle with it some days for sure. I love work. It's bad.
No, that's not. Why is that bad? If you love what you're doing.
Yeah. We talk about this a lot. We'll get into this in the podcast too, just about work-life balance and stuff like that, which he teaches me on. So without any further introduction, let's dive into it, man. Tell us about you. Who the heck is Temp Walker?
Templeton Walker, Temp Walker, T Nasty.
Okay.
Dude, I'm just a dad. A dad. I got 5 kids, married to my wife Denise. From a small town. I'm from the Grand Canyon National Park. Most amazing place in the world to grow up. But that small town values, right? So kind of hard-nosed, hardworking, didn't have a ton growing up. So I have those values. But then I got exposed to personal finance, personal development because I had 34 jobs. I was like unemployable. I didn't realize I was an entrepreneur. I didn't realize I was a visionary. Like I didn't have the words for it. But come to find out, that's what I was. And then as soon as I was exposed to that at around 25, I was out of options. I had burnt like every bridge. I had poor discipline. I pretty much, if I didn't have my oldest son, Kingston, who I have half and half at that time, I was like partying. And I would like tell everyone these great ideas, but I did nothing about it.
Right.
So I kind of went through that whole process, which was exhausting. And I finally looked in the mirror. I was like, dude, you're a liar. Like, are you going to like do... I used to dream about winning the lotto, and I didn't even play the lotto. Like I thought the world was gonna like bring me something.
I thought I was on your door and hand you that ticket one day.
Yeah, I thought I was like special.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, you're not special. Like you're gonna have to go get it.
Yeah.
So got into real estate, man. Which I called my aunt in Prescott, and I was like, Aunt, I was selling a multi-level marketing pill. I'm like, Aunt Cindy, I got this pill. It's gonna change your body. Like you don't even realize. And she's like, you're an idiot. I'm gonna pay for real estate school, and you're paying me back on your first deal.
Yeah.
and I took to it quickly. And I think I made like 20 grand in my first couple months. And I was like, I don't think I made 20 grand the year prior.
That's a lot of pills you'd have to sell.
Yeah. Yeah. These were legal pills, by the way, I was selling. But I was like, oh my God, like I'm kind of, I have a knack for this.
Right.
So it just started to grow, and I rode that early roller coaster. I was like, I was a big fish in a small pond. I was a small brokerage, and I sold like 5 million my first year back in that market. You didn't have these mega teams like selling like gajillions of millions every month, right? Like if you were selling like 30 million, 40 million, like you were.
That's when home prices were like 250.
Right. Like you were doing it. So, for me to go sell 5 million on my own, just kind of hustling. Mm-hmm. So then I didn't know what I was doing, but I hired one of my best friends, Brandon. I was like, dude, I need help. I need an agent. So I didn't hire an admin first, which you should always do. I hired friends. I did it right. I did it wrong. But then I grew T Group, which was Templeton Group. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. I was a big realtor, right? Like I was a big realtor within like 3 or 4 years. I was selling like 50 million, 60 million. I'm on stage. I'm in my late 20s. I'm feeling myself. But the truth was, when I was just a traditional agent, I wasn't making that much money. Mm. So I went through that process and started looking at these HUDs, because my best skill is relationships and negotiating deals, finding deals. Yeah. Kind of seeing through the cracks and being like, there's something there. Sure. So I was good at finding these deals, but I was teeing them up for other investors. And then on the HUD, they're making 100 grand and I made 12 grand, which I was thankful for. But I was like that's just another human being. They put their pants on like me. I did
70% of the work on this.
Yeah. Like why can't I make the 100 grand? So that was like 16 or 17. I started getting exposed to wholesaling, flipping. And that's where like my heart really was like, oh, this is fun. And then it's just grown into, dude, I vertically have integrated, like you said, about 9 different companies. And some of those have diversified now, where I'm in the cannabis testing business. I'm in different stuff, but like I'm pretty much real estate.
Yeah.
So
let's rewind it back. So you had a team. How big was your team at the time, I think, when I met you?
Well, dude, I had a brief moment at EXP, which was like, in hindsight, I probably should have stayed there because, dude, I was early. Yeah. But I had as many as 40 agents at one time. Okay. But I usually rock with about like 12 to 15. Mm-hmm. I've rebranded Templeton Group in one of the companies. So Shauna's my COO of my parent company, mm-hmm. Shauna Slevin. Mm-hmm. And we rebranded Templeton Group to the Slevin Group. So that actually still exists, but I gave her ownership in it. Got it. So we have that. And then I flip high-end luxury. Sure. And you can't really like have your assistant like post that and like sell it the way you sell a regular house. Sure. Like it requires work, the way all of us are going to have to start doing in this new market. But so I started white label with ColeRep. So I sell most of my production in real estate. Traditional gets sold through white label, mm-hmm. but I also own Slevin Group, which used to be Templeton Group. Got it. So to answer your question, 12 to 40.
What did you like most about having when you were on a traditional team?
Man, I liked impacting and like helping people. Mm-hmm. And when you get into sales and entrepreneurship, I think it's a lot of people's first time really getting exposed to like self-development, personal development, personal finance, which is like what I geek out on. Yep. Like taking ownership of your life and realizing like the way we've all been programmed and what the world says we have to do and be, doesn't have to be the case. So I loved exposing people to that idea. What I hated was like managing people on a daily basis and like trying to blow smoke up their wazoo to like get them motivated. Yeah. Because like, dude, if you don't have the desire to work, like I can't help you.
It's tough, man. That's the thing. And I completely get that because that's how I am. I love motivating, keeping people going and stuff. But there's only so much motivation you can give somebody where you're just like, you're not doing anything with it.
Yeah. I'm different. I don't like doing that. Yeah. Like I like casting the vision and exposing you to this grand idea and like, hey, there's something bigger for you in this world. But I'm not going to text or call you every day or sit up here on Monday mornings and be like, you should hold this many open houses. Right. You should call this many prospects. Like,
that's a bare minimum effort.
Yeah, like if you don't know that, like I can't help you. Sure. So being a team leader was like, I didn't like that. What I liked was, getting people on the right side of thinking, but then the daily management of that I hated.
So where was the moment you made the decision? You're like, I'm just going to fold up. I'm done with this. Like kind of running team and just, this isn't the direction or path I'm going on. What was like the turning point for that? Do you remember? Was there like a single thing that happened, or was it just like
I was making so much money, like wholesaling and flipping, and it was like lean and mean. I didn't have a ton of overhead. I didn't have a ton of obligation. Right. Like I had risk, but I was controlling the narrative on it, and that became so robust that I was like, this thing over here was paying me like 10% of my income, but it was like 80% of my time.
Yep.
So at a certain point, like it was a diminished return. Like it just wasn't a good use of my time anymore.
Yep.
So what I chose to do though, and I think I've done this well, is a lot of people would just close up shop and say, hey, this is going to go away.
Yeah.
Where what I did was I put Shauna in charge. She gave her equity in that company, and I let it still do its thing. But the worst thing in the world is being obligated to things that you're not in alignment with.
Sure.
Or having people relying on you or wanting something from you that you're not serving.
Sure.
Like
That makes sense.
I hated that. So what I did is I went to every agent. And I was like, look, I love you, but you're not going to see me. I'm going to be hard to get a hold of. I'm not going to be around. You're going to get Shauna. She's going to guide you through transactions. You're going to get photo signed lockbox. You're going to get a full TC. You're going to get inventory to sit. But like, that's what you're getting. And if this isn't the sort of team that works for you, I can help set you up with interviews with, quite frankly, you're a better team leader than me, right? Like in a traditional sense, like I can set you up with Blake. I can set you up with Kevin Kaufman. I can set you up. I have all sorts of friends that might be a better fit. But if you want to stay here, I need you to know that I'm going to be gone.
Right.
So now I can sleep well at night because I was transparent and I'm not obligated to something that I'm misaligned with. Mm-hmm. So I stabilized that because it was still a good little company. Like it made me probably $100,000 a year.
Yeah.
But I didn't have to do anything for anymore. So that was the first time, because I buy assets, I buy rentals, and we all know the power of passive income, cash flow.
Yep.
That was my first company that I created cash flow from that no longer really required me. It was one meeting a week. Me and Shauna would align on problems, opportunities, the P&L, and that's it.
Yeah, you're just kind of being the compass for it at that point. If they what high-level problems we have, how can I come and fix that for you?
Yeah, and then my time was able to really get poured into wholesaling contracts and flipping houses, and then I've essentially mimicked that model multiple times. So the SoulPod, which is the wholesale company, we move probably 30 contracts a month, maybe more. And Miguel and Rodolfo run that company. They're the integrators. I gave up equity, but now our company's grown 5x with them there because they're just better integrators than me.
So let's talk about that transition. So you went from doing the traditional team, said, okay, I'm going to back out of this, doing pretty good as a solo-ish, I'm guessing, doing the wholesaling type stuff. What was the next level that was like the transition that blew that up for you? So let's talk about scaling, right? So you went from a team that was scaled, brought it down, said, this just isn't my thing, it's not my passion. I'm going to do over here because it's more profitable. Then let's talk about the scale phase, like start to finish. Like, how did you find those guys? Where the heck did Rodolfo? Which, by the way, I know Miguel's super good guy. He's been helping me out a ton too. So shout out.
Dude,
I haven't met Rodolfo yet, but Miguel's a rock star. He's awesome.
You and Rod would probably actually really connect because you guys both like can kind of labor over the details, and you like to.
Yeah.
Rod's like he's an engineer by trade.
Love it.
So
how'd you meet those guys? Where did they come into the picture? Where did the company say, okay, I'm going to make a legitimate company out of the wholesaling and stuff? Yeah. And let's talk about that transition. I'll back the scale back up on that side.
So 16, 17, 18, I'm wholesaling on my own. It's just Templeton, South Rim Investments. I'm probably, dude, I'm making a lot of money and I'm keeping it, right? Because I have no overhead. Like I have no dispo process. It's no process. It's me on the internet saying, send me your deals, which, by the way, I'm pretty sure I'm the first person who said that.
Making videos.
Now, every person who says, send me your deals, they owe me a royalty.
I don't say it just because I knew you said it. So.
No, dude, don't say it. Like, I don't care. But so I was doing that for a long time. Send me your deals, send me your deals. Right. So you send a deal, I'm going to underwrite it. I'm going to comp it. I'm going to line it up with the next buyer, the end buyer, and I'm going to make that spread.
Right.
And I have no cost. So that's great, right? And I'm making a ton of money, and that's awesome. But like by 19, almost 20, I'm so burnt on it, bro. I don't want to comp a house. I'd
imagine too that they're, and I don't know if this is like it with you. Like one thing I struggled with when I was getting into this and had to unwind myself, right, was just like you. I was really good on the traditional side. I am really good on the traditional side. So I walk into a listing appointment, 99% of the time I'm walking out with that listing appointment because I'm creative and I'm confident with it. On the wholesale side of it, it's a different ball game. Like you're comping, I'm walking into 8, 9 appointments and I'm probably closing 1 or 2 maybe. And I'm like, do I suck? Like it's almost a gut check.
I told you, I was
it's almost a gut check because you're so used to closing them, and then it was a mindset shift. It's like, well, wait a minute, because then it was it's almost on the traditional side, you're qualifying. I mean, like, hey, do you have this equity ready to go? Motivation, okay, cool, let's go, boom. Where this, you almost have to disqualify. I'm like, no,
100%.
Are you? So it's completely backwards. As crazy as it sounds, same industry, But it's like, no, I have to get all the objections out of the way right up front. Like you have to almost convince me you're good to go on this for it to make sense, because most people aren't going to take a big discount unless they have to or there's a need for it. So I know for me, it was like, God, this is a lot of friggin' labor to get a damn deal. Like, I wouldn't say late. Like once you get under contract, it's not. But what I mean by like the comping, because you said that, I'm like, I find myself comping way more damn houses to find a deal.
Dude, I had to send me your deals, right? Like I had to look at probably 20 houses to buy one contract.
Right. Yeah.
So that's a 5% ratio.
Yeah.
It's not great, but I mean, but then like my average spread's like over 20 grand per contract. So, all right, like that's a good use of your time.
Yeah. ROI's still there.
And back then, dude, I would do 5 to 10 contracts on my own every month. Mm-hmm. So you can do the math on that. Like it was great.
Yep.
But I was exhausted on it. I didn't want to do it anymore. Like I just, I have, how invested I am as a dad and a husband, and I've had 2 new daughters. We tried for our last daughter, Vivian, and then God gave us.
You guys got your own baseball team now.
Gave us Mara as well. So yeah, I got a full house, which I'm all in on that. That's the season of life I'm in, where I'm pretty low key.
Yeah.
Well, the only way to achieve that was to have integrators and great partners. So Miguel and Rod, unbeknownst to me, they had worked for a good buddy of mine, Steve Trang, got great training, but they had let him know, like, look, in a year, we're going to go out on our own. So they go out on their own. They start selling me deals, but they're selling them thin so I can go make more money as like I know this now, but they were like trying to like
get your business or trying to
they were trying to be my business partners.
Yeah,
Dude, but in their mind, they were going to be my business partners. Miguel even tells a story that we played one-on-one basketball. He had asked for like some mentorship and we went and hooped, and I played in college. I beat him. He says he let me win because he didn't want to ruin his chances of being in business with me. So anyway.
Rematch time.
So it was just kind of a perfect storm where I have the wave and the influence, right? Like I can get a ton of deals sent to us. And then they had the skill and the know-how on how to actually build systems and processes around it. So like just yesterday.
Would you accredit that to like what they learned over with Steve? You think like it was kind of like
I think it's them and Steve.
Like a baked in system, like they kind of already knew what to do and had something to work off of, at least like a foundation to build and improve upon pretty much.
I think what they got over at Steve was like they got with Sandler and they got the sales skills and the work ethic. Steve he does a very good job of setting up like a business system. Like it's not like, hey, we're going to come in here and hang out and work. It's like, no, this is what you do. This is how you do it. I think we have a much different system than what they learned there, but they did attain a ton of knowledge, growth, and skills there that they've now been able to build upon. So, and then with me, like I think I'm a very good coach and business leader, visionary. And then with their hustle skill set, dude, Miguel and Rod are both from Mexico.
Right.
Like, not to say like if you're from Mexico, you're going to have like some innate work ethic, but dude, these dudes like,
They know what it means to start from the bottom. Yeah.
Dude, they worked their butts off, right? Like they were cold calling from 8 in the morning till 8 at night. Like they didn't become my partners on accident.
Right.
So they've really like now, like we were texting yesterday and I was like, bro, I don't even know about our deal. Like I don't know I genuinely don't, you couldn't give me a street name. I wouldn't know.
Right.
I only hold Monday meetings with each company. And we look at KPIs, we look at revenues, we look at opportunities and problems, big vision, where are we headed? That's all I work on.
Right.
And that's been a testament. So when we talk about that scale, for me, there's a great book called Who Not How by Dan Sullivan.
Just read it. Yeah, phenomenal book.
And that's how I live my life. I don't need to know how to do something. I need to know who. Because the who is going to be a great camera person and video editor, right? They're going to be masterful at it. And it's going to be like their zone of genius where it takes them 10 minutes and they're amazing at it. Or I could like labor over some video editing for like a day and it will suck.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like, why would I do that? I will just find the correct who.
I just talked about that on one of my last podcasts too, is just time's worth money as well too. And like how much time would it take you to spend to learn that, especially learning something you just don't freaking love. You're not passionate about it.
Dude,
and how much does it cost you, right? Hourly, instead of just finding somebody that's phenomenal, that loves it and has a passion, it's always going to be done so much better than you ever could anyways.
You know what? And you know what's tough, Blake, is the way we brought up, we didn't have a lot, right? So you mow your own lawn, you do your own dish.
You don't think about people in.
No, heck no.
Yeah,
like,
you're programmed to do it yourself.
And if you don't, you're lazy or you're not a hard worker. Yep. And I had to like deprogram myself from that. Same. Where I have the work ethic, but like I'm not gonna like fix that door.
For sure.
I could probably figure it out. But I'm going to call someone and pay them $100 and I'm going to go buy one house that pays me 20 G's.
Yep.
And I can go buy like a lot of doors.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So
Buy your time back.
I am the most relentless person on time. And I've developed into that. I used to be awful with time.
Yeah.
Like I would let anything steal my time. Dude, if you weren't one of my good friends, like I'm not here doing this. Like,
and I will tell you guys, I'm a friend of his, and it still takes a long time to kill him.
Don't
But here's the thing though about that is like it used to. I get it, dude. It's always full circle. It's funny because I feel like I'm always like a couple steps behind you on some stuff. Because we've had this talk where you're like, hey, you're gonna get really busy and you're gonna get burned out. I'm like, no, I'm good. I like it. And then I'm like, fuck, I'm burned out. I don't like it. I'm like, shit, he was right. And then that was the thing. I'd call you, and I'm like, oh, this motherfucker doesn't answer his phone. What's wrong with this guy? How's he getting any deals, business? And then I don't know. You just told me about that, man. And I remember just thinking about it. I'm like, he's just spending time with his family. It's all good. And he'll get back to me on it. And then like just setting those boundaries, right? And then it's like this is the same thing though. That some days I was like, I really want that. And like, shit, 8 o'clock at night, my phone's ringing. You know what? I'm not going to answer it. I'm just not like I'll get to it tomorrow because I'm hanging out with my kids or family now. And so it's just like you said, it's an evolution of you just have to go through it, right?
Well, and then the right people will understand what you're doing, right?
Sure,
like,
absolutely.
and for me, I don't owe anyone anything,
Right.
Right? Like
Absolutely.
I have faith in God, and people can have debate on that, but that's how I see it.
Yep.
I have my wife and my kids. I have my business partners and family and my closest friends. And then I have my friends and colleagues. None of them get to get anything from my cup until I till I fill my cup.
Right.
Because if I'm empty, I can't give you anything.
Absolutely.
Right. And then our phone is a dangerous thing because if you call me, you're putting your time onto me.
Yep.
And I get to choose. I used to feel obligated to answer your call. And I love you.
Yeah,
like you're
for
my
sure.
boy.
Well, you always get back to me, so it's fine.
No, I do. But like, dude, you know how many people hit me up and like I used to apologize for being like, hey man, sorry for delay. Now I'll text you back 3 weeks later when I try to get my inbox to zero and I pick up the conversation as if you just text me.
For sure.
With no apology. I'm not special, but this is what I'm willing to give.
Sure. Yep.
And if it rubs people wrong or if they don't want to participate in my world, that's on them.
For sure. Absolutely.
That was freeing when I changed that, bro. And you're doing it, right? Like you had pinged me last night. I was laying the girls down and I was like, oh, well, we have the thing. I normally wouldn't call back at the same night.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I better call back just in case you want to chat about today.
Yeah.
And you didn't answer. And I was so proud of you. I was like, oh yeah. I was like, Blake didn't take my call.
No, I was out on a walk with my daughter and said the same thing. It's not. I don't even think I even heard my phone ring, but I saw you. I was like, I'll just get him tomorrow. It's not. He's late with his daughter. I'm with mine. We'll hit tomorrow. It's not a big deal. But yeah, it's been hard. But well, I wouldn't say it's been hard. It's just been rewiring. That's what it is for me.
It's programming.
Because for me, it's just so friggin' slammed with work all the time. It's just busy, dude. When you scale, you get busy. To your point. And then I read that same book, The Who Not How. And I think you recommended it. It was probably one of the things we were at when I went to that last meetup.
Who Not How, man.
Yeah,
I talk about it all the time.
Fucking clicks because I was like the whole book. For those of you guys, I'm gonna let you guys read it. I highly recommend it too. But the whole basis is just you don't need to know everything. You need to find people that are amazing at certain things, and then you take 90% of your time and focus on what you're amazing at, and don't fill 10% of what you're amazing, and the other 10, 20, 30% with things that you don't want to be amazing at that you're trying to learn. You can easily just attach people to you that are amazing at those things and rely on them. You could help them I don't know. It was a game changer for me. So with that being said, I was like, okay, I've already started putting systems in place and delegating. And that's the hardest thing, dude. Like you said, for me has always been, I do everything myself and I do not trust people to hand it off to and the truth is they're probably way more competent than I am. Full disclosure. I'm not great at everything. It's just I'll just have that mentality of just get it done. I do it. I don't hire anybody else to do it. And then now this year's been one of those things where it's like, if I'm ever going to grow, I'm either going to pile on more time on my plate, like you said.
Which I'm not willing to do anymore.
Right, and I'm not willing to do it anymore. Or if I want to continue to grow, I need to bring people with me, and I need to figure out how I can help them build their dream, but they can help me build mine and let them be amazing at what they're amazing at. Let me help them and by me being amazing at what they need help with. And it's a win-win in that formula.
You know what's tough with me, and I've gone through this growth, and then like at times when you see people, no one's going to do it the way I want, exactly. When I have employees, I typically run like at a 60, 70% efficiency is how I look at it. Like if you can do this 60 to 70% as well as I think I can, great. But where people get messed up is if you have the expectation that they're going to do it the exact same way or as well as you, because you're a master, dude, you're amazing at what you do.
Right.
And if you're expecting them to match what you do at 100%, you're going to churn through people. You're going to be frustrated because you're setting too high of an expectation.
Absolutely.
So I had to learn to be like,
just build it in.
If I'm going to create leverage, I have to understand there's going to be some shrink there. There's going to be some diminishing returns because I am special. Like, I understand I'm really good at some things that no one else is going to do as well as me. And if I'm going to leverage those things out, I have to be okay with it not happening. Because I'm like OCD-ish, you know, like maniacal in some things. And I'm like, why would you not do it that way?
Yeah.
And then I had to like deprogram myself and be like, oh, I need to give you a system and structure and processes, which I don't know how to build. So then I had to bring in integrators who could build it. And I had to tell them, hey, here's the vision I want. I'm going to hold you accountable to build what I see.
Make it happen. Yeah, connect the dots for me.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That makes perfect sense. Knowing what you know today, what would you have done different from the time you first started getting into like real estate? So from day one, got your license, your aunt said, get your license, you're licensed.
Yeah.
To today, how would you have made that path more linear for yourself?
Well, I'm a firm believer I am where I'm supposed to be, so I wouldn't change anything. But if I could, let's just answer the question. I wouldn't change anything because I love where I'm at. I love my life, and I learned from so many of the things I had to go through.
Yeah.
But if I could, I would have got in the investing space sooner, man. I mean, like the money is much more lucrative.
Yep.
I wasn't well suited to be a realtor. I'm actually a terrible realtor. I run a really good company, right? Like
you're a great people person.
Yeah, like I love you, but like I don't care like if this room is big enough for you. Like, do you want to buy it or not? Like, I'll go get you the very best deal.
Yeah.
But like for you guys to labor over this like being the right house or not is exhausting. And like, so I wish I could have found the math-based, relationship-based investing world sooner. And then for me, I wish. I'm always becoming a better version of myself. And I had a cycle for a while where every time I was going to like level up and become the next better version of myself, it was going to require more of me. And I'd be like afraid of who that guy had to be. And I would drink and I would go up, like have a big night and like black out and do something stupid and then have to say sorry to everybody. But what I found out was like, I was afraid of becoming who I had to become. So I wish I could have got out of that cycle sooner. I learned what I needed to learn from it. I'm not a guy who drinks every day or anything like that, but like, bro, I'm like a lion. Like if you let me out of the cage and like, if I don't have the right mindset, like I'm going to kill tourists, you know, and like, I'm going to get put down by the zookeeper. So,
AKA the wife.
So I wish I could have learned that habit sooner. Cause dude, I'm a pretty disciplined guy. Like every day I'm breathing, I'm in cold water. I'm just doing all these things that really fill my cup and fill my soul. But I used to just let that habit cycle kind of crush me. I don't know if you've ever experienced anything like that.
Yeah, I have. I have. So me, it's I have to be in like habits. And for me, like when I got into real estate, I agree with you, the investing side of it. I passed so many good deals, man. It's frustrating. Like looking back, I'm like, I could think of like 4 right now in my career that I'm like, I passed up, missed that opportunity, didn't build wealth for myself soon enough. I do a pretty good job now. If I get deals, I take them down and I keep them as rentals or, whatever. Self-development would have been a huge one. I'm so big on that now. Just like learning. Like it's funny because it's weird because a lot of people look at somebody like you, look at somebody like me, look at somebody like, the other top producers in here and they're just like, oh, you guys are where I want to be. You guys are there. And it's, I don't even feel it. It's weird. I'm like, I got so much more runway to go. And I just feel like right now I'm finally like, okay, I'm feeling good about it. Cause like all these years, as good as I did, I never, like you, I think I probably had went through a little phase like, oh yeah, I'm the free man. I sell a shit ton of houses and on stage getting the awards. I got a whole office full of them. And then like now I don't even care. Like none of that matters to me. It's what probably matters more is every year I'm kind of just doing something different and growing. Where I thought, for the first 5 years, I just got to make it to the top 1% in the state to sell houses. And I laugh now when I see these agents that come in and they're like, that's all I want to do is just be a top agent and that's it. And I'm like, you're playing a 10% game. There's 90% in this space. And you're playing like a 10% game, you know, and nobody told me that when I first started. Nobody was like, hey, here's the whole world of real estate investing. And so I'm a little disappointed on that. And then, as far as like habits for me go, dude, I fall off the bandwagon if I don't have structure. I'm a structure guy. So I get up first thing in the morning. I do my workout. I don't know. We could talk about your morning routine because I know you got some stuff. But for me, it's like get up, go for a jog, run with my dog, listen to podcasts for 45 minutes, immediately hit the gym for another 45 minutes. So my first 2 hours of my day are me alone and listening to podcasts, self-development. And it's always intentional. It's like, hey, I have this question. Like, what? How can I be better at this? What would be a good system for this? And so I go find a podcast and I listen to it. So it's just always every morning I'm learning something new, and it just keeps me on track. And then there's been points in my life where I'm like, oh, this thing happened, or I got so busy and I stopped going to the gym, or I stopped working out, or I stopped reading books or whatever. And then, dude, you just feel so sluggish. You do not feel the same. I never feel as effective if I'm not taking that time for myself to learn.
Dude, you can't pour from an empty cup.
No,
right?
not at
and
all.
like I used to give, and then I had nothing left to give. So I've learned like I have to fill my cup.
What's your morning routine? We were talking about that. I know you said you do cold plunges, but like,
I have my backyard set up. So I have like a barrel sauna. I have a cold plunge.
So you guys see him doing pull-ups in his underwear.
I have a rock climbing pull-ups. Dude, normally I'm naked. If I put it on Instagram, I throw a towel on.
Throw the underwear on real quick.
No, too many times I've had like my dad walk out and I'm like doing dips, soaking wet, but naked, and he's like, why did I raise you like this? God, you're so weird. I'm like, can I get a minute, Dad?
It's my backyard.
So for me, backyard session. So it's cold water. Cold water has been like probably the biggest game changer. So I have a cold plunge. I always have water 35 to 42 degrees, depending. I get in there. I do Wim Hof breathing. I do 50 pull-ups. And then depending on if my wife or I gets up with the girls, I'll crush the morning with them. Summer's a madness, but normally we have school, feed the boys, get them to school. And then for a long time, I'd go to the office from like 9 to 1. Now I only do that on Mondays. And then that was the only day I would really work. And then I would usually...
1 day work week, guys.
Yeah, I'd work. Yeah. And then, I mean, I'd take calls. I'd do some things, but not like I really didn't. So fitness, hang out with my girls. Dude, I have 2 1-year-olds right now. So like that's really what I've been focused on. Yeah. So that morning though it's the cold, it's the breathing, it's the pull-ups, and then I get to the gym and I lift. But if I do those things, I'm good. But I've also like, dude, I've gotten to a season of life where like I used to obsess about money. Like it was my only thought. And it got me where I am, but I'm proud of myself because that's a wheel that it just gets bigger and bigger. You can stay on it. And what I chose to do was hop off. And I was like, that's a stupid wheel. Like I'm financially free. I have enough income, passive income. I don't have to work per se. Yeah. So, but what a lot of people do is they get addicted to more. So I've gone through some full weirdo sessions, bro, where I read the book Goodbye Things.
Yeah, I remember that.
And that year, man, I made quite a bit of money and I didn't buy a single item.
I remember that.
I
think that's when I first saw you get on like social media and you're like, I'm giving all my stuff away. And I think you kept like 8 or 9 pairs of clothes or something like that.
No, I had 29 items.
So I remember I texted you. I'm like, what the hell are you doing, dude? You're going through like a midlife crisis. What's wrong with you?
Dude, but like for me, I hate. Have you ever walked in your closet and you have, dude, I collect shoes. I have like...
I'm the wrong guy to ask about clothes. No.
Lululemon. Like, dude, I have like amazing stuff.
Yeah.
Probably 40 grand worth of stuff.
Yeah.
Call it 30. I don't know.
Yep.
And I'm like, my brain's like, oh, I have nothing to wear.
Yeah.
That is a sickness. That is something wrong with my brain that has a lack of gratitude for
sure.
all of this stuff. So what I did one day, and my wife's like, what is wrong with you? I'm throwing Jordans and Yeezys and all this stuff into trash bags. I put it in the garage.
Yeah.
And I parsed it down to, I didn't land on 29 things. Like I didn't go into it thinking I need 29. I just tried to say, what are the essential things I think I can live on? Yeah. And it was 29 things. And I did that for the last few months. I think I'm on like 50 to 60 things now. Because
D feel better doing it? That's the biggest thing, right? Did you get the outcome you wanted from it?
Yeah, man, because it just, you realize in this life, what's really important is the way you make people feel,
for sure.
The way you feel, being at peace, being happy, being inspired, being joyful, feeling good, feeling healthy. And what you're wearing on your body or what you're driving
for sure
does not matter.
Yeah.
So that was just a great reminder for me that I'm on the path that I like to be on.
Yeah. And
I share those things on social because it's my truth and authenticity, but like it's not to like impose that on anyone. Like
I think it gives people different perspective. Like, and I think that there's a common ground in between it, right? So like I went through something similar to that. I guess so. Like I'm the totally wrong guy with clothes. I get 2 craps. I'm gonna wear some jeans, and dude, you guys see my work. I mean,
you're in that black polo.
Dude, if I even post, you guys should see. Like every once in a while, I'll post a story with me in a different color shirt and the world goes nuts.
Yeah.
They're like, oh my God, you have nothing in the black. I'm like, yeah, you look at my closet, it looks like Mr. Rogers' closet. It's just all black polos and jeans. Yeah. Don't care about clothes. I got a Rolex. I hardly ever wear the damn thing. I got, just some nice watches. I'm not a clothes guy. I never have been, but I am a car guy. That's been my thing. So I went through that phase, sold, cars. I sold like a bunch of mine even this last year just because the economy was good. Made money on the upswing on that. But for me, it's different because I do like things, but I'm not attached to the things per se. Like it drives my wife nuts because I'll buy something. Like I got my nice 55 Chevy. I'm like, oh, all right, put it up for sale. I'm tired. Like I don't get attached to it, but those things for me did serve me because they were goals, right? So like in 2020, I was like, man, I really want a Lambo. I've wanted one for friggin' ever. Like when I was a kid, that was the dream. Like that's the epitome is having a Lambo. So I was like, what do I got to do? Reverse engineered it. Got to do as many deals. This is what I'm working towards. Boom, boom, boom. Got it, and it felt amazing. And then I sold it though, and I didn't even feel bad about it. Like,
but you did it. But you know what I love about you?
I'm not
Blake,
attached by that.
Is you shouldn't in this world now where like social media is starting to like become like aware or like you're almost shunned for having the Lambo.
Yeah, people. I think the two sides on social media of it is that yes, there's those people out there that are like, you're a POS if you want nice things, and then there's the other half of it that's like, you're a POS if you don't have these nice things, and that's the problem I have with it because I look at you and I'm like, that guy's a piece. Like I don't look at you, I'm like, oh, you're an idiot. What do you mean you don't want a Lamb? Like I don't get, like we were just talking about that. And you're like, yeah, I rode in one. It's just not my thing. Yeah, and I get it, right? Like we all have our things that we like, and I drive a Chevy, you drive a Dodge, like whatever, right? And I think that's the damn problem is that because I know people that spend hundreds of thousands of dollars a year traveling, and that's their thing. It wouldn't be for me. I just don't like traveling. It drives my wife nuts. She wants me to travel. But if that drives you and if that moves your needle forward and that attaches you to purpose, like that's what you're working for. And you're like, I work for my time right now. Like that's the biggest thing. I worked my ass off. I ground to get my time back. Mm-hmm. Things aren't a thing for me. My time's my thing, right? Where for me it's time, but the things also drive me as well too. And yeah, that's the tough part about society today is that there's no, I can look at somebody and say,
and appreciate the way they feel about it.
Right. That's why I asked. I said, did it make you happy? Right. And that's the thing. And you're like, yes or no. Like, cool. And if it did, great. Like, even if I couldn't do that or you could, or like, that's the thing.
Here's where I struggle with things is if they bring you joy and you worked your butt off and you have the means to do it, you should absolutely do it. Yeah. For me, what I have felt when I've had things, if I can feel the weight of them, I don't like them. I don't like how that feels. Yeah. And
there's a right or wrong do it. Don't leverage yourself like so deep in debt.
And so like I haven't golfed in a long time because I've had my daughters, but played a lot of golf a while ago. We're on the Biltmore course and there's beautiful houses. And a buddy of mine goes, Temp, would you buy that? Because I probably could. Mm-hmm. I said, no, not right now. I said, I'd love to live in that house if when my payment came out for that or whatever my obligation to it was, if I didn't feel it.
Right.
That's what I don't like. I love living in the house I live in. It's worth $700,000. I mean, it's not crazy, right? Right. Like you're always like, Temp, why are you living there? Yeah. But like, dude,
so much road noise.
I'm on a 15-year note. I make triple payments and I don't even know when the mortgage comes out. Right. Like it feels light. And I like being free as opposed to that thing. Too many people, the things own them. They don't own it. Yep. And like with you and what you've done, you did it the right way. You could well afford it. Yep. You used it as an investment.
Yeah, I pay cash. I made a promise to myself. I buy one, I have to be able to pay cash.
And you made money on it. Like you used it as an investment, which is what I love. So that's the difference is like, and also do you have this thing because you love it or because the way it makes people around you?
I bought that car and I didn't even post on social media for 2 months because I was afraid of, I didn't want people to think, I don't know, man. I didn't want people to think I bought it to impress anybody because I just didn't give a shit.
See, but here's like the next layer is I think you should post that fucker because your truth is not the guy who levered it. Your truth is its truth. Mm-hmm. And like, dude, you did the right things for that. And now I think that's where we have to work hard to not give a shit what anyone thinks.
For sure. Absolutely.
And I've struggled with that, right? I'm like, oh, how are they going to perceive this? And then now I've just landed on a spot where I really don't give a fuck.
It doesn't matter. The ones that know you personally are going to
right. And like, and anyone, I love it because your message is essentially your life filter. Yep. It filters out the people who are going to talk shit on you.
Dude, I found
or say whatever. I don't need it.
Much value in that in probably the last year, I would say is I worry too much about, oh man, want to say this or add value to this person. And then what I found is like 2 or 3 people around you that take your value and use it and improve their life are better than having 5 people around you that waste your fucking time. Big time.
Bro,
so
you can't be around me if you don't have the right energy.
For sure.
And I always tell people, I'm not special. I'm not like, I don't think I'm better than anyone. No. But I've set standards around what I'm willing to be around.
Yep.
And that's what's leveled me up. That's what's taken me to where I'm at. Like,
for sure.
So,
and I'm different on that too. I like the pressure, by the way, of like the things and the stuff. Like, I don't even know, I could pay cash for my shit. That's why I have it. But I tried this in 2016. I think I sold everything. My house was damn near like, we had a super low mortgage payment. And I was like, oh, I'm going to just, like, I was stacking a ton of money up on that. But then I was like, I don't know what it is. I like the pressure. I was like, oh, I like that goal. I want to have that. That's the next thing. Like, I have to chase something.
Dude, that's
it's my fucking personality, though. It's the weirdest thing, because if I found myself when I wasn't chasing something, whether it be a car, or I want a new house, or I want a thing, and the thing is always just a goal for me. It's not like, oh, this thing identifies me. It's just a like, hey, that's okay. I have to work towards something. Otherwise, I feel like I'm just drifting through life if I'm doing like sub-level. And that's me.
Dude, well, no, but that's the thing.
Though.
So what people don't, and I hear you, and I'm the same. So what I've done though is like, now that I'm pretty financially sound, I love making money, dude. Right. And I love chasing business, and I like doing that.
Yep.
But then I seek out difficulty in these other equities of my life. So like my equities go like this. It's my faith, it's my family, it's my health, it's my friends and hobbies, and then it's money.
Yep.
And so for me, dude, like I ran a marathon without training. Like I tried to train. It was like 16 weeks. I
remember that, dude.
And then on the second week, dude, I was like, I have to do all that work. I was like, hun, make spaghetti tonight. I'm just going to run it tonight. And I had never ran more than 4 miles, bro. And I ran the marathon. I finished the marathon. Right. Ran is a loose word. Right. I got a cramp in my left arch at like mile 13 and like did this dead leg drag thing for like 12 or 14 miles, whatever it was. It
should have had somebody there filming it for you and made it like a motivational meme. Like,
no, dude, I made a documentary out of it on YouTube. And like, it's so trash. It's like me. And like, I was like, watched YouTube on like, you're supposed to have salt. I had a bag of table salt and I was like licking it and like, dude, it was like bad. And like I tried to edit it.
YouTube
it's so
University
bad.
For running advice.
And then the other thing that pisses me off about social media, dude, is like in my brain, I'm so dope. And like my shit gets like 12 likes and I'm like, this is stupid. The world doesn't know that I'm really cool.
Yeah.
And that you're supposed to like this. Like,
it's because you don't have fancy shit, bro. That's what people care about these
days.
I
know.
That's
so I'm like,
that's what pissed me off too, by the way, on social media is like, I'll drop, dude, so many people ask, right? Hey, what's the sauce to getting to here? And it's like, okay, cool. Here's my system process. Here's what I do every day. Same thing, few likes, right?
Nothing.
I can go post some cool shit. I can post my fucking wakeboard boat. I could post a fucking Lambo. I could post my fucking house I live in, dude. Blows up. And it's interesting because that tells me people don't give a shit about the process. I'm so different, dude. I look at somebody like that has massive success, right? And I never look at like, oh, I want that. I look at more of like, okay, cool. How did they get there? Like that's why like anybody that meets me, I'm never going to be like, hey, take me to your house. Hey, let me show me. I don't give a shit. What is the first thing? Like you probably know what I mean. Hey, dude, can I pick your, like, how did you do this? Like, I need to know. Like, that's the shit that's more important to me. And it makes me mad. But with that being said, dude, I look at everybody that's successful, right? And I mean, truly, like the people I know are the people that have coached underneath me, or the people that have mentored underneath me, or the people that work here in my brokerage that are just dominating right now. And they're all the same. They all, hey, they ask me all the time, like, hey, I need help with the system process. Like they put into action the things, and it's almost so easy for me now to spot. Like if I get somebody that comes to me and they ever ask like, hey, how did you buy this or tell me about this? That like if the end result is all they care about, I don't think they're ever going to make it. At least from what I've seen, I'm more invested in the people that I can see care about the process, right? Like how can you teach me the process? I'm going to pour into you, but that's my separate. That's the filter. Now, like you're talking about, the filter is because I just, yeah, but it's funny you mentioned that because it pisses me off so bad. I see the same shit. I'm like, I share so much fucking business advice and then nobody cares. And then I share the outcome of like, okay, here's the payoff. If you want, what would the payoff be? I'm on vacation with my family. You make a video like, oh, I just took a month off work and got paid. It's going to blow up. Well, why don't you fucking care how I did it? Doesn't that impress you?
But people, we live in a society that wants the result without the process, right? So whenever I'm like assessing talent that's going to be around me or energy or people that's going to be around me, I pretty much want to know, do you want to spend time on the work and the controllables or on the result? Because we can't the result is what it is.
For sure.
We can only control the controllables. So I have no idea if you're going to be successful. I have no idea how much money you're going to make. I have no idea what you're going to, like what the result of this is going to be.
How far you're going to take
But
it.
here is what we can control.
Yep.
You can put fitness and good books and good habits and good food and good masterminds and good leads and good work ethic in your system.
Yep.
And you're probably going to get a good result.
Yeah.
But like,
You're going to increase your chances for
yeah.
sure.
So yeah, man, we're on the same page on that.
Yeah. What's something you struggle with right now? We talk about a lot of shit that's going good for you. What's the downside right now, or maybe that go-to struggle you always find yourself going back to?
Oh man, like I love business. I actually love working, and I'm in that season of life where I'm not working a ton, and it's self-imposed. Like I'm putting a governor on my own engine, because if you let me, dude, I'll work like all day. I love it.
Right.
And right now I don't work much. And that's hard, but I've also just learned to be patient and be like, man, my daughters are only going to be one once.
Yeah.
My
That'll be something where I think like 15 years down the road, you look back and you're like, I'm glad I did that.
Yeah, because dude, what if I make like an extra $1 million or something in this time period? Oh, like,
would you give $1 million to have that time back?
yeah, exactly. So I try to be 10 steps down the road in my emotional intelligence of how does it feel to look back on myself then in the way I treated myself in my life. And for me, more money is never the thing that I'm like, oh, so glad I did that.
Right.
That's never going to be this, because money starts to have a diminishing return, bro.
Sure,
like,
absolutely.
I think it's 20 grand a month. Like once you're living on 20 grand a month, you can eat what you want. You can go where you want. You can drive where you want. You can live where you want.
Yeah.
So, and when you make that jump from 20 to 50 to 100, really the only thing that changes is your investable income.
Yep.
Dude, I just invest money every month.
For sure.
Like
yeah.
all my excess money is, I pretty much just like, oh, this cannabis testing facility needs capital. Let's put that together. Oh, this house needs capital, right? So money to me it's just a tool. It's not even but like our market's getting choppy. So I have 15 million out on high end flips, bro.
Which a lot of people are, I would say they're a little skeptic about it right now on the high end stuff.
Yeah, man. So, I mean, we'll see. Like
Speculative. Yeah.
Maybe I could wear it and I could get through it with what I've built, but that would hurt.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to let that happen, right?
What do you guys project the economy is going to do? Obviously, that's like the big elephant in the room. Everybody's like freaking out about the housing market and economy and all these things. And what's your outlook on it? What do you think is going to happen over the next 6 months to a year for people, in your opinion?
Well, we have to fight inflation, right? Like if we inflate too high and if our dollar gets weak, like that's where governments and societies like literally break.
Collapse. Yep.
So we have to stave that off, and unfortunately, that's with interest rates, right?
For sure. Yeah.
The difference is homes sell 100% because of supply and demand. And right now, our supply is still lower than usual. Yep. The demand is still high. Yeah. There's still people really wanting to buy houses.
Yep.
Their affordability just changed.
Yeah, the floodgates have been kind of put up right now.
Right.
In the form of interest rates is what it is.
And the other backstop that we have is people have equity.
Yeah.
Right. And the buyers that we put into these homes are so much more well qualified than we were. Like, I don't think we see a 2008.
No.
Right now, what I'm projecting is probably a 10 up to a 15% softening. So if I thought I was going to go sell that thing for 1.5, now I probably got to underwrite it for 1.2.
Sure. Yeah.
And that's it. But like, I look at this with the way we're inflating, if I put $1 million in the bank today, in 5 years, it's going to be worth like $600,000-700,000 grand.
Yep.
That's terrible.
For sure.
So once I have my SWAN number, which is like my sleep well at night number, like once I have enough cash where I feel really good and my cash flows are strong, it's really my job and priority to get that money out into houses.
Yep.
Because I would rather have that money in a house that
it hedges inflation better.
Maybe it goes down 15-20%.
Right.
But it's going to beat that inflationary rate.
It's still going to be 40%
So,
on the market.
and I get cash flow and tax depreciation in the meantime.
Correct.
So for me, what else am I going to do? Like, I got to put my money somewhere.
There's
I can't
no
put
other
it like
solid investments. Yeah, there's all the crypto dudes. Those got quiet real fast, by the way.
Oh, dude, I buy so much crypto.
Did you? So I haven't bought anything, and I was like, for the longest time, I was like, oh man, I'm really missing out. And then,
dude,
crickets right now.
No, I'll talk about it. Like, and I still buy. So what I did is if you caught me at the top to where I'm at now,
right,
I left about $400,000 on the table, which sucks. But that was unrealized profits, right?
Yeah.
But I still own. My capital that I had in that ecosystem, I traded out of Bitcoin and Ethereum when it was about like 35,000 and about 2.
Yep.
But that money that I sold out from still sits in those accounts waiting to redeploy at the right target buy price. So I think Ethereum goes to about 500-600, I'll redeploy all of that money. If Bitcoin gets to 10 or 12, I'll redeploy all of that money and play a long game.
It'd be a good time to buy when it's down for sure.
But here's what people do is they take that loss right now and they move that money into their life and their world, and it's going to go somewhere else, and you're not going to go rebuy it.
Yeah.
So for me, yeah, I wish I sold Bitcoin at 64,000, but I didn't.
Right.
But I did sell it at like 35, and I have that capital. And my entry point, when you look at my dollar cost entry point, I think I was at about like 44 or 45,000. So I'm down.
Yeah.
But I have so much conviction on the long game on that. Yeah. I do think that's where our monetary system will head. It's going to play a major role.
It'll be interesting for sure. I don't know enough about it to where, just full disclosure, I don't get that involved in it personally. I'm one of those guys, I have an addictive personality where once I like put my mind on something, I go all in on it. And so I purposely have to be like, yeah, I'm not going to do that because I get too scatterbrained.
No, so I need to chill out of it, but I have capital there, and I still deploy money over there because I want to have powder there.
Yep.
Because I like that opportunity, but it's all about just buying it at the right timing.
I worry about it with the regulation that's coming out. So the only thing is just the good old government comes in and they're going to regulate anything that people are making mass profits on. We've seen it time and time and time and time again over the history. So it'll be interesting. I do think there's opportunity there. I think it'll be some form of currency in the future that's pretty well known, but I don't know what's going to make it any different than any other currency if they go in and step in. Because I think, correct me if I'm wrong, that's one of the biggest draws to it is kind of the unregulation of it. Its ability right now, like it's not really taxed on a super high level, the same as like regular currency and stuff like that. The biggest
thing that's great about it is it's decentralized and it's open source. So like, dude, like you want to talk about a Ponzi scheme, you talk about the US dollar or any other dollar, right? Sure. Like any fiat currency is literally headed to zero with enough time. Where this is different because it's a limited supply.
That's true.
And it's not connected
can't be remade.
It's not connected to one decision-making country or system. Yeah. So I would encourage everyone to get some exposure. Get appropriate exposure. You know, like for me, like I lost probably $500,000 on it on paper.
Right.
I didn't put all my money there. I didn't leverage anything.
Sure,
like,
yeah.
Dude,
you had at one point and then it came back down. It's not.
And it's down and I'll send more money there and I think I'm going to be in a really good spot. But people don't talk about that. They don't say like, dude, I put an appropriate amount of money there and I didn't over lever myself. And I wish I would have taken those gains, but like, I'm not hurting. Does that make sense?
It does, for sure. Yeah, you're going to take losses. I don't know. Life's a game of wins and losses. You just got to win more than you lose. That's it. You're never going to make it through life not losing.
Yeah.
Like you're going to get hit on the chin. That's all there is.
You're not doing enough. If you're not taking some losses, you're not doing enough.
Yeah. I've tried to learn that. It sucks just as you go to business and you expose yourself to more, I would say like risk, but just more events in life, right? That are going to put friggin' fist on your chin. That's what it is. You just get used to it. As long as you can just get back up enough times, you're good.
No, and you can't.
Don't put yourself in a position to get TKO'd. That's the problem.
Yeah, exactly.
Be smart about it. So, but I agree with you on the market. I think we're going to see a little bit of a dip. I mean, that's the thing that drives me crazy about most of these people out there right now is 2 years ago, right? We have people losing their mind. Housing prices are too high. I'm going to wait until the market softens up. I'm not going to buy. This is unrealistic. This is crazy. Now things are softening. As with any economy, it's going to go up. It's going to go down. It has to. Like think about this. We've been seeing 18% appreciation year over year, which is great for those of us that are homeowners or investors. They got properties. It's been amazing. My net worth's gone up a lot of money. But the other 90% of the world out there that's buying houses right now, especially in our market, the first-time home buyer, they can't afford it. It is what it is. Like if things keep going on an 18% increase year over year, interest rates stay at 2.5%, 3%. When we were at our lows there, your average tract house is gonna be what, $800-900 million out here. How affordable, and our income, cost of income is not going up. So we would be setting ourselves up for an even larger crash at that point. Things have to adjust. Things have to get realistic.
We need to stifle it.
We need to. And this is the same as if you guys are running a business, and it's the same thing as a country. The country's economy, in a way, is a business, right? And if you're running a business and you're like, God, everything's getting expensive. I got too much overhead going on right now. And, my cost of supplies and goods and wages and salary is starting to exceed what we're making profitability-wise. What do you got to do? You got to go into that business and cut costs. You got to reset it. You got to reevaluate and say, we're going to, that's what's happening in our economy right now. It's needed. It's necessary. People need to stop freaking out about it.
Well, dude, I would encourage everyone to go through each of their P&Ls. First of all, you should have a P&L in your company.
I hope so.
Like for 3 years, I didn't. Like, dude, I did it wrong. Like
right.
I finally paid a high level CPA because I was making enough money. And he was like, so we're going to amend all these because they were wrong.
It's all done, right?
But you should go through your P&L. And I've been writing N or C, necessary or cut.
Yep.
And you don't want to cut your marketing and your growth, but and you're going to have critical and key people, but there's a lot of fat on that P&L you're probably not seeing.
Yep.
And just as hard as you work to fill the bucket, you should work on plugging the holes.
Keeping the holes filled, yeah.
So people should be doing that, and I don't know, don't buy Bitcoin at 64 grand.
What's your biggest misconception about you think?
About me?
Mm-hmm.
Oh man. Wow. I've never thought about it. I don't really care if there's a misconception, but I guess it would be, I don't know, dude. I don't know what the misconception would be. Maybe that I'm, I don't know. I don't know. That's like such a hard question to answer. What would you say the biggest misconception about me is as a good friend?
I think you're underplayed, but I take that back. For those of us that don't know, you see, I know you on a personal level. Like when I think from the outside, a lot of people would see you and be like, "This dude's goofy as fuck. How does he make money?" Like seriously, you know what I mean?
No, yeah, I think that's actually a really good one.
But because I experienced some of that with you, and it was like total judge a book by its cover thing, dumb shit. Like first met you, I was like, "Who the hell is this goofy dude? He sells a lot of houses. What the fuck?" But as I got to know you as a person, I'm like, this guy's extremely intelligent and a very genuine person. And so I think not a lot of people get to know that about you unless they know you on like a super personal level. So
I appreciate it. I think there's circles that are very like traditional.
Mm-hmm.
You went to a great school, you have a great job, you have an important title.
Mm-hmm.
They might see me or see my marketing or see my terrible $40 tattoos that I got when I was 19 or see my Instagram videos and be like, what a clown. Like that dude's so maybe that but that's also not the person that I really give two dicks about. Like, I mean, you can feel however you want to feel about me, but
doesn't matter. Yeah.
Like, let's break out the balance sheet. If we're on a financial measuring thing, I'll put myself up against most anybody.
Yep.
And there's plenty of people bigger than me, but like the people who are judging me.
Yeah.
All right.
Get on my level. Let's have a talk.
Yeah. But that's like then you almost release yourself from like, why do I even care? Yeah. Like I've learned this. No one's going to talk shit about you that's doing more than you.
Dude, I wish more people understood that. Because if you really think about that in complex, like I think we hear that a lot. I know it's like one of the most common phrases, and it's that fucking motivational meme everybody sees on the internet and shit. But really sit down and think about it right now. And if you think about, like, I know me, I don't go around worrying about other people failing or giving a shit. Even the people that, whatever did me wrong in business or didn't or whatever, it's out of my radar. I don't really give a shit. You know what I mean? I don't pay attention. It doesn't matter like what they do. People genuinely don't care about that. And then I look at the people that may critique, my systems or other people's systems and stuff. And I'm like, you're not really doing shit though. There's nothing you're doing that's impressing me and it's true. And the other level of that too, is I feel like guys that are secure in their business and what they do and who they are as a whole, just want to see other people friggin' win, dude. Like, I know you, and you've never once like, I hope that motherfucker fails. Like, and we've had conversations about how many people over the years just, hey, about their business model, what they're doing. And I know this guy, and it's never been a conversation of, I hope they fail. And I've never had that conversation. I don't hope people fail. And most of the people I know that do really well on a high level, I'm never like, oh yeah, I hope they fail. Like, it's just, it's interesting because it's just like this invisible like layer though, the people that are underneath that layer that are not where they want to be for some reason externally are like talking shit about people, and the dudes that are just up there living life and doing good and trying to constantly learn and evolve, you don't worry what other people do.
Well, dude, that's where,
off your radar.
And that's where, I'm free of it now. Like it's not even a thought. So like, that's when you say like, what's the misconception about me is I don't think about what the misconception of me is. Sure. I could see what it would be, but now that we kind of, dissected it, but dude, no one that is doing more than you is going to talk shit on you.
Don't even care.
And the people that are doing more than you,
you're not even on their radar. I promise you.
Yeah. So it's like, I don't, whatever people feel, I can tell you this, if you spend time with me, you are going to leave that room saying, dude, I have more energy. Yep. That guy has a kind heart and he seems like he genuinely wants to serve.
For sure. Absolutely.
And that's all I can control.
Yeah. Agreed 100% on that. What's the biggest thing you think people fail in our career, field, industry, and real estate as a whole, whether that be traditional or wholesaling or whatever? Because I think like you and me, like we've seen people come into the business, a lot of come go, some hang around, some do things, there's wide variety, right? And like we were just talking about, you're like, there's a handful of people that go. Mm-hmm. What's the differentiator you would say if you look at somebody and you're like, you have what it takes to go and this person's not going to make it? And I can tell, like, have you identified anything like that?
Yeah, it's people's standards, like, and being consistent in their actions. So like I have certain standards, and I think I talked about this at that talk at the call tattoo with Justin. But like, I have standards in my life that are non-negotiable, and most people say they have standards in their business and then they don't. Like, I have a standard. I always use this example. I'll never leave my kids at the curb after school wondering where dad is. Like, I would never leave, like, them not getting picked up is not an option. So what if you had that same standard around prospecting every day or holding open houses or whatever the work is that you need to do, you would be really successful. But the truth is you have too weak of standards, or you're not willing to commit to these standards in your business. So if you hold true standards, and then if you stay consistent, too many people get hot and cold on things.
100%.
If you stay consistent in your pursuit of a growth mindset, acquiring knowledge, acquiring skills, getting around the right people, compounding good habits, you're going to be fine.
I think if you detach a monetary value to that, that's the thing. Like in real estate, how many people? Why do we have the highest failure rate? Right? They think they get in, oh, it's going to be easy, and then they don't see a paycheck or a dollar about, and they think that they're failing. And in my opinion, I'm like, if you're doing all the things you need to do, it's going to come, like, inevitably. I haven't seen a single person that came in and put in massive action consistently over a few months that hasn't done well.
Well, you have to have the right mindset. I saw a little video clip of a buddy of mine named Alex Camacho. He lives out in Maui. He's heard of him, he's a great
LA
investor.
Too, doesn't he,
he does flips in LA. He lives in Maui. He lives a really cool lifestyle. But he talked about when he got into real estate, he made a 10-year commitment where he was like, look, I'm going to give 10 years to this. And the first 1, 2, or 3, I might not make anything, or I might not make any money, but I'm going to acquire skills. And he goes, guess what? I actually did make pretty good money. And then it made up in years 3, 4, and 5. I made so much, it made up for those years where I made a little less. But he had such a long vision on it. Right. And that's where I look
at the right expectation.
Dude, the most successful and wealthy people I know, they make 10 and 20 year decisions. They make 5, 10, 20 year decisions. They're not making a decision on next month.
For sure.
Yeah, you have to tweak some things in your business, but you have to be committed to this long vision of who you want to be. And I know exactly who, dude, I write a letter to myself on Sundays of who I want to be at 35, because I'm going to turn 35 next month or in July. Is it July yet?
2 days.
So
today's the 30th.
and then I've written my letter to myself. What does my day look like? What do I look like? What does my money look like? What does my relationships look like at 40 and at 50? So I'm making decisions so far out in the future that when I hit a little pothole, I don't even feel it, because like
it's forecasting.
I'm looking out there.
And I agree with that 100%. That's how it was with me when I got into real estate. I took my first year and just basically said, I don't really care if I sell 1 deal or 10. I have to learn. Mine was like learning. I was like, I just have to obtain the knowledge and understand fully how a transaction works and the fundamentals of it.
Dude, you teach me how to fish. I had
fun with it. That was the thing. I had fun with it. And that's, you just, I think it's dangerous when you come in and you're like, if I'm not making 10 grand by my second month, I'm out. If I don't get a deal by my second, I'm out. Because you're automatically in it for the wrong reasons. You're not.
That's the result. That's not the result.
Exactly.
That's what we talked about.
You're not looking for, okay, what skills do I need to do? How can I master this? Because if you master anything, you're going to be paid for it. Your time and your knowledge is going to be directly resulted in compensation. That's what
there's always room for the best.
100%. So I look at it too on the form of like extreme accountability. One of my business coaches had told me an example of like, you just got to take extreme accountability for yourself. And I don't think people understand what that means. He goes, but everything's your fault. And no matter what, doesn't matter. Let's translate that into real estate. Doesn't matter what brokerage you're with. Doesn't matter what team you're on. You have access to resources everywhere. I mean, especially today and age. And he was using an analogy where he was driving his car, and he had a Lambo too, actually, and he had gotten rear-ended on the freeway. And he made a video about it. Like, he was crazy. He was sitting in his car, and he like put a rear view, and you could see the car behind him that hit him. And he's like, this was my fault. And he got rear-ended. And I'm like, how the fuck is this your fault? Your fucking Lambo got hit. And he's like, it's my fault. I chose to take my car. I'm on the freeway. If I didn't make a choice to get in my car and go on the freeway, they wouldn't have freaking hit me. So it's my choice to be here. And I'm like, oh shit, that's kind of right. Same thing with racing. He races cars, and somebody had spun him out basically on the track. He's like, some dude hit him and threw him out. And he goes, it was my fault. He goes, it's my fault because I chose to put my car on this road. Like, I can't be mad at that guy. I knew what I was getting into. I knew that I was putting myself in a situation where I could get hit, get whatever. Why would I get mad at that person when I chose to be here today? I had the choice to stay home. So when you start taking radical accountability and you stop blaming other people and you just say, listen, here's what it is. What can I learn from this? And what can I take? What actions can I take? How can I hold myself accountable? Everything's in my control. Everything's my fault. You give yourself so much fucking power on that.
Well, dude, now you're free because you literally lose the victim mentality.
Yeah, like it's nobody's responsibility. You can't sit back and say, I'm failing because of this, because of this, because of this. You're failing because you didn't do what you need. You're not holding yourself accountable.
Extreme accountability and then a positive perspective on life can take you anywhere, bro. Because like, things don't happen to you, they happen for you.
Yeah.
And that's hard when my mom got cancer last year. It's hard when my aunt passed away. It's hard when things happen.
Shit happens out of your control.
Things happen, right? But they're somehow happening for me. And what can I take from it? Because they happened, right? So like, am I going to let that beat me, or am I going to grow from it? So I think that people who understand the importance of a positive perspective are, you know, that's 90% of the battle, man, is what's going on between your ears.
You give yourself so much power that way too, because here's the fact, like, life's gonna fucking happen to you. You're like, I don't know a single goddamn person that's like, my life went amazing, smooth, I never had a single speed bump. Like, dude, you look at you look at me, every one of us right now, dude, you take the shirt off and there's how many arrows have been in our back, you know what I mean, along the journey. And it's just like, you can sit there and cry and fall over every time you get hit, or you can say, well, it is what it is, but I got a long way to go. Get your ass back up and move forward. And you don't give power to the shit that knocks you down. That's the biggest thing for me, at least. So if you weren't an investor in real estate, what would you be doing, man? What would Templeton be doing outside of real estate? Take real estate away tomorrow. What are you doing?
So I got to go make money, or do I want to, like,
whatever the fuck you want to do, dude. Maybe money doesn't even matter to you, dude. Just if you were like, what if I wasn't in real estate loving, like, what am I doing?
I'd probably figure out how to arbitrage some sort of, I'd broker something and make a lot of money, because I like making a lot of money.
Yeah.
So I'd broker something like, I don't know, laminate floors, or I'd figure out how to make big checks.
Yeah.
And then I would do what I do every day and get in cold water and hang out with my kids.
I love it.
I'd broker something.
So what's next for you, man? You got this whole thing built up. Like you said, you forecast 10 years down the road. Paint that picture. What does it look like?
So for me, I think my girls will start going to Montessori half day at 2, which will free up time. Because of the choppy waters that we're hitting in real estate, I think a lot of opportunities about to hit.
Yep.
So had a good, honest conversation with my wife. I'm going to probably start working about 20 to 25 hours a week.
Sounds so funny.
I know, dude. But I can do 100 hours.
You're like, I'm about to put in some overtime, 25 hours.
You know, my kids. So I worked, this is my 3rd day in a row working.
Damn.
Well, this is work right now,
How's
right?
that feel?
It feels good.
Yeah, good.
But on Tuesday, so I normally work Mondays. I hold all my company meetings.
Yeah.
And the boys are on summer break. So Tuesday I had more work, and they're like, but you worked yesterday. And I'm like, and it's like 10 a.m. And I'm like, and I came home because I had to take a shit. And then I was like, guns are hot, out the way. And then I had one more appointment. And then they were like, wait, you're leaving? And I was like, well, yeah, Daddy's got to do a little bit more work. They're like, you worked yesterday. And I'm like, I'm going to be home at like 1.
Right.
And the day prior, I was home at 1. So like they have such a skewed perspective. I actually told Denise that. I was like, we need to have a family meeting and let them know.
It's going to be hot. Dude, I know, for the kids, because I have a similar conversation, not necessarily the work thing, but quality of life, right? Because I grew up, same as you, I definitely didn't have today as a kid what my kids have.
Oh my goodness.
And I have these conversations with them, and you guys have seen me on social media. I always get my kids like, hey, go to work, go do this, got to earn it. But it's crazy their lack of value of the dollar, right? I'm like, hey, go do this, and well, you got to pay me $20 an hour. I'm like, sure, look, if I pay you $2 an hour. By the way, you owe me rent because I use your power and water, and you pay me, you know. And so I try to instill this stuff in them, and then we always talk numbers where, like, you know, when they leave all the lights on in the house, I'll whip out the power bill. See this right here? We can cut this down. If you didn't leave these lights on all day when you're at school, you're not in your clock. It's the same. That's how I grew up. My dad was the same way. Like, flip these damn lights off. Take the switch out of the wall. And they do not have I almost wonder if I'm ruining them in some days, to be honest. I know I'm putting in good work ethic and I'm setting the example. They'll never look at me and be like, Dad didn't work. Dad was a bum. Like 100%. Dad's smart. But I worry about them because I'm like, my kids ain't going to have this house. And they ain't going to have this car. I'm sure as shit not buying them this stuff when they turn 16, because I think it's important to go through that struggle. I really, really, not to say that I don't think it's important for them to come into my business. What I'm creating is for them. You know what I mean? I want them to come in and if they choose the path of real estate or whatever I'm into, hey, let me teach you. Like, you're going to start at the bottom. I'll work you up and one day maybe hand some of this over to you. But dude, it's crazy because I worry about that. I'm like, they're going to have the rudest awakening when they go to move out. And they're like, Dad, can I buy the neighbor's house? I'm like, no, dude, you're getting that apartment down the street that you can afford. Here's what your paycheck is. And I don't know. So that's something I'm working on right now, is trying to figure out how to bring them back to reality, man.
So I have a different thought on it where I do struggle with the same thoughts of like, am I ruining them? But I've
Kids
also,
are like, Dad, I got this full-time job. It's 10 hours.
They're
making me work so much overtime at 40 hours, Dad.
But here's what I'm teaching them. Like, and here's what's exciting. And I'm still having to work through some programming because I'm always teaching them, leverage, abundant thinking. I tell them how much I make.
Think big. Yeah.
I tell them all these things. So like my 11-year-old home comes from school. He goes, Dad, I didn't pay attention at all today, but you're going to be excited. And I'm like, all right, what's up? Yeah. This dude made a whole business. He had a stock ticker for it. He had checks. He had employee IDs, and it was
that's amazing.
It wasn't earphones; it was nose phones, and he somehow created a way that you can. It was all pretend.
Yeah.
But I'm like,
his gears were turning. Though.
Yeah, dude, and like he invests money, and he'll be like, Dad, Bitcoin's down today. We should re-enter. Like these are the way my kids are thinking,
right? And
I want them thinking that way. However, they also have a like. Do you remember when I did that donation thing when I did that West Coast trip?
Yeah. And you're going around giving money to the servers basically along the coast.
We gave away like $7,000 and we were giving $1,000 tips. And for my kids to witness that instilled such great stuff in them, and it's amazing.
Yep.
But now like my kids, like they'll be like winking at me at dinner. They're like, I'm getting the vibe. Let's give them $1,000. And I'm like, no, bro. Like I just want to spend $80 on dinner. And they're like, she needs a dad. And I'm like, I'm like, guys, we can give abundantly, but we also have to give appropriately. So I've actually been toying with, because dude, these little shits, bro, like I love them. They're best. And here's what I've done well. They're kind-hearted. They will protect against a bully. They are amazing in those realms, but they also have the same struggles where they're on the stupid Fortnite and they're sweating like they're saying, I'm so sweat. They're saying shit I don't even understand.
Tend to get bored if they don't have like that stuff. Like they're like,
I've taken it away. But then they want to spend real money on skins, and they're like, Dad, Darth Vader came out, and I'm like,
which by the way, whoever created that shit, genius. I see that every time. I'm like, this dude just made reoccurring money for a fake skin. Like you don't own it. It's nothing. I can't put this thing in my hand, and they're making credit to those guys. I'll give them, and they're getting, they're raking in the cheddar on that from parents like us.
So, I've actually started toying with the system, like with how much I've thought about giving them, like $2,400 on January 1st. That's $200 a month.
Right.
But now you're gonna buy any clothing you want, your ice cream stops, your toys, your VC. You're going to have to run a budget.
Yep.
And within that budget, you are going to give 10%. You're going to short-term save 10%. You're going to long-term save 10%. So now you only have 70% of that money.
Yep.
That's usable. And if you're smart, you're going to figure out how to go buy stuff online. Like my son, he bought all these stickers for $5 on Amazon, and their currency at their school is these tickets for a thing. A kid can usually have about 8 to 10 tickets. That's a lot.
Right.
Noah got in trouble. He had 97 tickets.
He bought these ones off Amazon or traded
He got everyone's tickets because he was selling the stickers.
Yeah.
Which was awesome.
Yeah. You can't even be mad at that.
But now if I give you real money, how are you going to earn with it?
Right.
How are you going to use this as a tool?
For sure.
So I as much as like my humble programming wants them to go eat shit and live in the apartment and like work at Chick-fil-A, the other part of me is like, how do you source the sauce for Chick-fil-A and make 10 cents on every packet?
Yeah, give them the entrepreneur spirit early with that.
I want them to be free, bro. But also like,
I do too. I agree. I just struggle. I struggle with I think because maybe it's different. Like with me, I just look at it like I was hungry because I had to be hungry, dude. I don't know.
Bro,
like, I think if I look at it completely different and my parents were like, oh yeah, we got this beautiful company, come in and run it and did it. I don't know if I'd be the same. No, they wouldn't. Dude. I don't know if I would though, man.
I wouldn't. And like,
I look at back and I'm like, I look at like just right now thinking back for me, I look at all the growth and it was just because like I'm fucking terrified of going back to that, dude. Like honestly, like,
dude, I still operate out of fear.
Don't get me wrong, I would like fucking tomorrow if I could put my ass back in a single white trailer when I was a kid, I'd be okay. I wouldn't. I'm like whatever, I'll get the fuck out of here soon. I'm not worried about it. I know I trust myself enough to hustle to get back to where I'm at, even if I lost it all tomorrow. That's just inside you. But I'm like I don't want to go back to that. You know what I mean? And so I don't even know if I'd be who I am today or have the hustle that I do or enjoy working as much as I do if it wasn't for going through that. You know what I mean? And most people I talk to, they all have the same story. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I saw my parents struggle like freaking crazy. I saw the repo guy come by my parents' house and my fucking dad took a truck we had and boarded this shit up inside a shed. To hide it from the repo guy, and I'm like, we're not even. I remember being like 7. I'm like, we're not even driving this truck. Give it back. But Dad's like, no, I'm not giving that truck back. I'm like, it's fucking bored. I remember being a kid and playing. I had like a little dog. I still picture this dude going inside, and this thing was just covered in dust. And I'm like, what? The fuck?
Why? Yeah, why are we keeping this?
Fucking why? You know what I mean? And just seeing that shit, and I'm like, that'll never be me. I remember I used to have to hide money in like a coffee can, dude, out in like my parents' shed in the back when we were kids, just because he was like afraid that
someone's going to come.
It's going to happen. Somebody's going to come take the money, or somebody's going to lose it and shit. Like, I just remember that, and I'm like, I don't ever fucking want that shit. It's crazy, though. And so I had to work out really hard to get out of that mindset. Because the problem is when you're in that mindset, too, they're there for a reason. They have like limiting beliefs. My parents have 100% limiting beliefs on money. You know, I remember when I bought my house, my dad came and my dad's like, why the fuck would you buy this? What's wrong with you? Why do you need this shit? And I was like, what do you mean? You know,
well, now it's doubled in value. And
he couldn't, but he don't understand that. Like, they don't understand good debt. He was the dude that's like, pay cash for your house, pay cash for everything. Like, no leverage, no, because he got so burned by debt. And it's like, you didn't understand though, that you can leverage the debt in a good way, responsibly. And you could turn that dollar into $3, that $1 of debt into $3. And so, I don't know, man. Looking back on all that, I'm like, I just hope my kids get something from that. You know what I mean? I always worry about it.
It's education, though. It's just education. It's letting them know that there's good debt and bad debt, and there's an appropriate risk tolerance, and also like Operation Don't Be a Douchebag. Like, dude, my kids are not allowed to be assholes. Like,
yeah, no, for sure,
not allowed. Like, I will.
My son's gotten like this thing where he's like lazy, but he's smart. That's like I was telling the other day, I'm like, go get a job in the neighborhood. And he's like, I can't work. I'm 11. No, what did he say? I'm 12, 13. I was like, I got my first job at 12. You can work, bro. Like, I got my first job, I was 12 years old, and I've been working ever since. I was washing airplanes at 12 after school. And he's like, I don't even know what I can do. I'm like, dude, you can go down the neighborhood, tell each one of the neighbors, you know, you'll pay them they pay you $5. You'll pull their trash cans out to the street. When you get home from school, you roll it back in, $5 a house. He's like, well, why would I do that? I could get one neighbor just to pay me $20. I'm like, all right. I mean, whatever. Go get your $20.
Yeah,
know? But that's how he is. He's got that mindset of like, how can I do the least and make the most? And
it's
I'm
a
like,
gift
and
and
I
a
get
curse.
it. Yeah,
Dude.
it is for sure. I'm like, well, I don't want you to be fucking lazy though. Like, but can I be mad at that? I don't know, man. It's yeah. It'll be parenting's fun, man. It's interesting for sure. I struggle on that side of it. All right, man. So to wrap this up, dude, we've been going at this for a minute. So what is the single best piece of advice you could leave someone just starting out in real estate, or maybe not even just real estate, maybe in the investing, or just that young guy that's like, dude, I want to get to that level where you guys are at on a 5-10 year runway? What are you leaving them with, man?
I would go figure out how to plug in with the person you want to become. Like, if they resonate with you, or if it's with me, you don't want me anymore because you'd be watching Cocomelon all day. But like with someone that resonates and is doing and living the life at least that you connect with on their heart and their mind and financially, and serve that person. Because if they're the right person, and if you genuinely do anything for them, they're not going to take it for free. They're going to take care of you, right? And they're going to take you with them. I would have probably done that to speed up my curve. Yeah. And then just there's 3 things you can always control. It's your energy, your attitude, and your effort. I could walk in the Suns locker room right now and be the best at 3 things. I could have the best energy, I could have the best attitude, I could have the best effort. Doesn't mean I'm going to be great on the Suns.
They'll toss you the gorilla suit.
But I could have in a world-class locker room, I could be the best at 3 things.
For sure.
And I think people forget that sometimes.
Yeah.
Double down on those.
Yeah, a lot of energy and effort will take you further, I think, than even a skill will. Because I know people in our space, right, that they're not the most intelligent person out there, but they have the right personality and they have a massive drive and they add so much value to people around them that and
you're not gonna have all the answers.
You take them with them all the time. You know what I mean? I got people here, same thing in my brokerage, man. The people that put in the effort, put in the value that I pour into them, man. I take them with me. Like you said, every opportunity that I have.
If you're with the right mentor,
as I learn, let me pull the curtain back and let me show you, here's what I'm doing. You know what I mean? I'm going to bring you into my world and I'll show you what I'm doing. And then those that are just kind of sitting around like, yeah, I don't want to do anything, you know, and that's in life, friends, anything like that. Well, no, I'd love you to pieces, you know what I mean? But I'm not going to pour into you if I want it more than you. So I think you're right on the money, dude. Just the energy and effort, dude, will take you places you never. I mean, it's going to put you in tables and circles of people that you'll never get only with skill, in my opinion.
And high level players love being around people with energy and effort, right? Because they're like,
dude.
Oh man, because most people are coming to them with like a handout.
Yep.
And now when you're coming in, just like, no, I don't want anything. What do you need?
I look for the givers these days because people like us are givers too. Like, we'd love to help people, right? And you're just like, my phone rings, like you were talking about earlier. People call me. Dude, I love that. But it's like, dude, you're the fire all the time, right? Giving out fire to people all the time, bringing the energy in the room and shit. And you're like, who's my fire? Who's bringing it to me? And then when you get somebody else that comes in a room and you're like, I'm going to help you. I'm just here to learn. I just love being around you. They're not there for, I want something from you. It's like, I just want to be around you and have fun and bring value to you. Dude, I keep those people around me all the time. Day in and day out, 100%.
That's the key.
Cool. Well, brother, appreciate you coming on, man. Hopefully this was value. Hopefully you guys got something out of this. Temp, I appreciate you, bro.
Appreciate you, man. Thanks for doing this.
As always, guys, if you guys got value from this, if Temp dropped it for you guys today, share this with somebody you guys know. I think that there's enough knowledge in this that's going to really change somebody's life if they put it into action. So, all right, guys, get out there. Crush it.